Hey everyone, welcome to the Vegas Shoot 2024. We're in the arena. I'm Greg White, sitting alongside Rio Wild, back in the States, back in action, back with Hoyt, but a new class for you, Rio.
Yeah, it's a little different than playing with these boys for sure.
We'll tell you more about that in a second, but we're happy to have you here. We are, let's see, Rio, it is 11:36 according to my $40 watch. And at noon, we're going to go and have the Championship Open category line, the same line that we showed you yesterday, if you got to see the coverage yesterday. And so we're going to show you that today and see who is clean, marching their way towards 3 days of perfect arrows. And Rio, why don't you tell us what we're doing in Vegas? How far do we shoot and what target face do we do, all that stuff?
We do an 18 meters, similar to 20 yards, so anybody that's used to a football field, about 20% of the field is you're standing between there and you're trying to hit a spot about the size of a U.S. maybe silver dollar in that realm.
The 10 ring, yeah.
And for
you got it right there.
Right there.
So you can see that.
Yep,
there?
And for thousands of dollars and a title. I'll be honest with you, that's probably worth more than the money in your mind a lot, and it makes guys. I mean, I'll be honest with you, out of all these guys here, I'll bet you 99% of them could shoot all 30 arrows every day in that target. But with that on the line, it changes everything.
Everybody's a pro in practice, right? Everybody.
100%.
Well, not me. $58,000 the purse for the Vegas Shoot for the Championship Open category. So championship and amateur classes are kind of, it's weird here at this tournament. You don't have to be a pro to shoot championship. You don't have to be an amateur to shoot flights or to shoot other classes. And that's the cool thing about this tournament. You can go anywhere you want.
And it's really cool because I have guys from home that I talked into coming, and they'd come here and shoot, and they'd be like, I won the 25th flight, and they won $500, and they're ecstatic. And it's a really cool system they have, and it brings a lot of amateurs to the tournament. And I mean, this year we're looking at 4,600 archers descending on this South Point Hotel, and I'm telling you, like, it is something different. There is a lot of people here.
I'm going to check your math. All right, hold on. Let's see.
All right.
Say 25th flight. Yeah, no, I explained this little trick. If you're new to our stuff, okay, and you have old eyes, this is a really good, especially with archery, because if you have binos on, you have binoculars on, you flip it over, and then you can take a look at your sight tape. So let's see, 25th place in flights is going to get you $150 for the win, right?
Yeah.
All right, so here's the deal. We're getting ready to look at championship class. This is Championship Open category. So all the shooters here are the shooters that are trying, or at least tried as of the beginning of yesterday, to get into the shoot-off, which happens Sunday night. And we'll explain more about that, where you can see it, all that stuff. To get into that shoot-off and then win $58,000 plus what other contingencies that are available. Like, I think Matthews pays $50.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have seen $124,000 worth of checks in someone's hand standing on the podium at the Vegas Shoot before. So this is no joke. And when Rio's talking about, when money's on the line like that, it gets people a little snug.
Oh, yeah.
They get a little tight.
I honestly don't even know that it's also just the money. You've got the factor of it's a Vegas title.
Well, yeah, you're Vegas champion forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's this 58 years, I think, is how long this thing's been going on. And I can tell you there are people that this is the one that they want more than anything. They would give every title they've ever won, and there's some that have won a ton of titles and not this one, to have this in their hands. So.
And of course, with Championship Open, anybody can come shoot it. So men, women, it doesn't matter your age.
Yep.
I think maybe, there's a limit in terms of age, like young, I think 13 or 15, something like that. But you can shoot any bow that you want.
Yeah.
But one of the people that have done it before is Sarah Lopez. She's actually come and shot in the Championship Open category, has the very hot Sarah Lopez. And why? Oh, this is me shooting the last line.
What form? You
Yeah.
are on point.
Yeah. All right, so I shoot a little bit, and
Oh, that had to be in a 10.
oh boy,
Solid.
That was a man who was not happy about the arrow that was sitting in the target. I can guarantee you that. Yeah. So anyway, thank you, TV Truck. That was just sweet of you. Now look, here's what happens though. Okay, so you register for a class, and then you shoot your class throughout the course of the weekend.
Yeah.
So I'll just take a look here. And that group of women kind of averaged, you know what I mean, like across the board. And then here I am just sticking out like a sore thumb. But I will say this, where I did stand out was the bales where I was down on, which was 160. So like 159, there were 161, 162. They needed judges called. And so then I can stand up like a big dumb tree and hang my hand in the air and go, judge! And then they come out and they look at an arrow call. Now, I'm saying judge, so maybe people that are watching before or people that haven't shot at this level, in this size tournament, tell us what's a judge, why would you need a judge, that type of stuff?
When you get down to the target, sometimes they don't always agree. Some guys think their arrows are in, some guys look at it and say, no way, that's not there. So just to be official and make it all similar to everybody else and everybody has the same kind of level, and a judge or an official will show up and they will give you what they feel it is. And sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't. And I have seen both ways.
I've also seen people that are calling arrows. So you go to the bale, you're normally 3 or 4 people, and you divvy up the responsibilities, the jobs. So tell us a little bit about the 3 jobs you have to do.
Well, you have the guy who runs the PDA. He'll touch the screen and put in the arrow values. Then you have the guy that's the lucky one that's running the scorecard. He has to do all the hand adding and all the other stuff, and it's just kind of it's a double check system. Works really good. I did have a guy when I was younger teach me that if you don't want to do either one, you just sit back here and wait till they get to the target and let them all decide. So you are pretty easy to get out of that.
Well, for me, there were 3 shooters on my target today, and when they approached the target, they look at each other. They go, "Same as yesterday," and they went, "Yeah." So I was like, "Okay." That's why you saw me just standing there watching. And I was like, "Can I do anything?"
Yeah, you lucked out.
And they're like, "No, don't bother." So, so then you have the person who's going to arrow call. And I think the thing to really to note that's important is, you're paying for yourself to be here. You're paying your entry fee. You're paying your hotel costs or whatever. Even if you have a sponsor, don't let someone else dictate your arrow call if you think it's not right. If the arrow caller calls a 9 and you think it's a 10, hopefully the arrow caller doesn't have an ego enough, in my opinion, to be like upset if you call for a judge. Like, that's me.
Yeah.
And I will always encourage archers, just call for a judge.
Yeah,
like it's not that big of a deal. It's something comes and goes. It's your score. Fight for your score. That's what I think.
Yeah, 100%. And I think some of the sad parts are when the judge comes in and makes the call, you hear people go, "Oh, that was a bad call. That was a bad judge. That was a bad." Yeah. Like, I mean, it's the game. Like, seriously,
it is the game.
Yeah, you got to look. I mean, I've had calls that I thought should have went one way, should have went the other way. You just, as one person once told me, Chance Bobev said, "It's your fault if you put it there, so you got to deal with it."
And I agree with him.
100%. I can't.
Just
if
as much.
I didn't shoot it there, I didn't have to look at it and say, "Hey, hope it's in." Like,
dude, just as much as when it lands in the target, you got to let it go.
Yeah.
I had one today that was just, I draw back, the thing goes right to the middle, and it normally doesn't. Okay, so sometimes when it doesn't, 99% of the time, when it finally does, you kind of freak out a little bit. So I drew back, it went there, and I shoot a thumb button, and I was just like, "It's going!" And I dropped my bow arm, and I was dead center 8. And I was like, really? But there are other people that dropped. I mean, on the women's category, which is the group that I was shooting with, the competition female compound, we had 11 women that were shooting perfect 300s yesterday, but 2 of the biggest names in the sport ended up dropping a point, including Sarah Lopez and Paige Pierce. And so, Rio, let's just kind of take a look here. We could see the target of, that's Sarah Lopez's target, and that one right there, that one hurts.
That's one of the worst feelings. I mean, especially to get this far. You're almost 3/4 of the way through. But it was interesting. I talked to Sarah a little bit before she shot that arrow, and she was like, I don't know why I do this. It's so, like, I don't shoot indoors, I don't anything, and I don't care, you know, if I win or lose. And I said, Sarah, you can't lie to me. I know being competitive as I am, that you don't go anywhere, don't expect or want to win. And she's like, oh, and she kept playing it off, and then, I mean, she missed the last one, and it was like, you can see how much you want to win when that happens, because it's not always.
Paige too missed her last one.
I don't know where Paige missed hers, to be honest. Not positive. I didn't see where Paige was at.
How tough. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, let's talk about the last arrow each day. If you know you're clean, does the last arrow each day carry as much stress as if you were clean 899 or whatever, 890, and you have one more 10 to shoot on the last day?
No, I mean, if it's coming down to shooting a 900 inch your last arrow, it's a pucker factor. I mean, the guys are just nervous and they're all tight and everything because, I mean, that 900 means a lot. There's a lot of guys that I can't tell you how many guys have told me, well, I shot 900 at Vegas. I did this. That's some of the things that go down in their books of what they've done. So, like I said, I don't know that, like, you can say that it's that different, but it's truly one of those things that makes a difference.
Well, trying to see, I'm looking at the scores here, and one of the things that we have with Iencio is there's
the 600, the 300s today.
Yeah, that's the 300s today. So those are going to be people that are going to be able to shoot the 10K a day shoot, and I think those are the people that are clean across the board, meaning people that have shot 600s so far. So we have, let's see, Rio, we have 16 people that have shot clean. So because we have the championship compound open category is so big, not only do they have to divide the lines up in terms of line times, but we know that they were sending some people into arena number 2. Like Louis Holmes was one of them yesterday, who ended up shooting a perfect score, but not like with his peers in this big Preferred arena. But however, let's go over the list real quick and show you how many people so far. So what we have is Braden Galantine and Christopher Perkins tied at 56 apiece.
Yeah.
Nobody shot 90 X's, correct?
No.
At this tournament.
No,
yeah.
I think 89 by Stefan Hansen is maybe the
I think the highest, right? Yeah. So when you look at it, you know, Perkins was clean yesterday, but he dropped 4 X's today. But X's are tiebreakers. This is just kind of your ranking. Jacob Sluzars with 55 X, perfect. Remington Boyer. Bailey Wildman from Australia yesterday, who also shot 60 X's. Lawson Viet from Oklahoma. Dane Johnson. Levi Reitzma. Aiden Stephenson. Moose, in parentheses, from New Mexico. My boy Brent Platt. Chris B, still clean. He's got 46 X's. Jacob Miller with 45. Chris Hacker with 43. Michael Allman with 42. Angus Moss with 42. And man alive, Sam Smith, who had a 313X. How tough and is it to shoot? I mean, that dude must have been battling all day.
I'm telling you, like, I've seen those kind of scores before, and I personally have not. I've missed. I don't know that I can handle it, but it's hysterical because you're like, that person every day, the whole day is just like on pins and needles because it's like I'm just catching, and it's like, man, this is not what I want to be doing today, and it still works out for him because they're still in the hunt, and it's a big part of that. And so
he went 13 X's the first day, but today he ends up, his total now is 39 X's.
So 26 today.
So that's really strong.
That might be an improvement of the day for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So Sam Smith is still clean. So that's kind of where we sit. I know from the arrow average perspective, which is a great thing that Iencio provides, that we, on arrow average from the first line that we had 73 clean yesterday, and we're down to 61 in terms of arrow average, meaning, like, you know, so the group that hasn't shot yet, they obviously still have a 10.0 arrow average.
Yeah.
Right. So so in that first line today that just shot, we lost 12 people.
Yeah.
So
and that's I mean, people don't realize The first day, sometimes you just walk out here and you don't realize what you're doing and you shoot it. And then you spend the whole day walking around the booth and everybody's like, oh my gosh, good job, good job, good job. And it builds up and it even makes more pressure and harder for people to really handle and deal with. It's a real life thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm happy to announce that, because I had an earlier shooting time than you folks.
Yeah.
That right now I'm sitting on top of the pile.
That a boy.
Yeah.
That a boy.
Because I shot 30 arrows more than anyone else.
That a boy. Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
I screen grabbed that. I'm going to post that up on social media.
That a boy.
Yeah. I don't,
P1.
Huh?
Position
P1.
1, yeah.
P1.
Yeah. Not everybody can say that.
Yeah. Yep. All right, so let's get you up to date on what we're doing in terms of this coverage, right? So this coverage has gone a few places. Depending on where you're watching it, we want to make you aware of what Archery Plus is. Archery Plus is the new hub for archery content. You definitely want to go check it out, and you want to get yourself signed up for Archery Plus, because today we're providing you with this great content that's coming at you free. Tomorrow morning and tomorrow early afternoon, we're also going to have some more content for you. But when we get to the Vegas shoot, that final shoot for that $58,000, you want to make sure you go and check out. It's right behind us there, and there's the QR code. We'll pop it up on screen for you here in a minute, though, that you can scan it. You want to go check out Archery Plus. It's at archery.tv, and that QR code will take you to that link, because that's where it's going to be. It's going to be behind what we call a paywall. It's going to be $4.99. However, the great thing is that with Archery Plus and the NFA, they've partnered together, and that $4.99 for the Vegas shoot 2024, that money's going to go to the NFA Foundation to the Youth Scholarship Fund.
Nice.
Yeah, so obviously the more people that subscribe, and you'll have the Vegas shoot video on demand for as long as you have it, your account. So make sure you go check out that QR code or go to archery.tv. Just sign up for it, and then you have a great place to stream. There's going to be tons of content over the course of the year that'll be on there. And oh, by the way, it's only like $30 for the year to subscribe for the entire year. And if you keep watching later on in the broadcast, we're going to tell you a little discount code so you can get that down to $25.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's some cool content. I mean, you get to watch some of the best archers in the world do their thing, and it's some fun stuff to watch.
World archery content and this stuff, and yeah, we'll see. There's the little thing. So yeah, it's going to be good. All right, so where are we? We are 6 minutes away from getting this line going. And by the way, if you watched our coverage yesterday, our boy is back with the headband a-cranking. You see this yesterday?
No, I did not.
Yeah, so I guarantee you our TV truck is scrambling right now looking for our headband guy. Headband guy is all the way down at the end. All right, he's down by like target 65. He's spinning arrows all by himself. And you know what that is? Did you see that?
No.
Okay.
It's something special.
It's all the way down at the end on the right side. He's just kind of by himself, just down by like target 164 or 165, but he's on the line by the bows. There he is.
Yep.
All right, you know what that is?
Oh.
That's the luggage strap that came in the swag bag.
No,
yes,
get out of here.
Yes, I love it, and he was wearing it yesterday as well.
Wow, there's some focus going on there.
And by the way, he shot a 300 yesterday, and he was in the shoot-off. You can see his arrows. He's got the skinnies.
Oh, yeah?
So to shoot a 300, absolutely. Yeah, that was won by Plonsky. You see that yesterday?
I did see
Plonsky won it with nice. I think he was shooting 27s.
I think so too. By the look of the arrow when I saw the picture.
So Rio, let's talk a little bit about what happened with you last year. So you stepped away from competition archery last year. Where did you go and what'd you do?
I spent the year coaching the Korean compound team, and it was an awesome experience. I really enjoyed and loved the archers. We did some cool things. We set a world record. We had multiple Asian records, won 20+ medals. It was a pretty awesome experience, and I actually missed the archers. They were really fun, and we had a good time. And I'm really proud of the hard work they put in, and it was, like I said, it was a cool experience. We got to go to the Asian Games and did well at like a World Cup, and so it was a neat experience, having never been a national head coach before. But
you were away from home for a long time.
That was a little rough. 10 months away from home is not ideal, but it was something I wanted to do. It was a pretty good honor to be the first non-Korean to be a coach.
Shout out to my girl Sue Ah. Okay, because Sue and I, in one of those times where I got to shoot the compound, the championship compound female category, and I showed up on a bail. Sue Ah, who is part of the national team,
Yep.
the youth coach, was on that line, and she was like, why? Like, she didn't speak English. She's just like, why are you here?
Yeah. So Sue is, she's awesome.
Yeah, and So Che Wan, of course, was
Yeah.
doing the translation that time. I think that was probably 2 years ago. I think maybe I was here.
It was last year.
Was it last year?
Because you were asking me, like, I'm having a hard time
That's right.
saying some of the Korean names, and I said, go to Sochewan. She speaks really good English.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
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 So,
Good shooters.
Oh,
good people. A lot of
good
fun to be
people.
around.
Yep.
Yeah. So now he's back in the States, and you're wearing the Hoyt shirt. So tell me, man, like what bow are you shooting? What did you decide to, come back? And how's it been, the transition of not just coming back, Rio, but, just these couple weeks when people found out that you're shooting in your proper age category?
It's been fun. It's been different. I come back to the States, and, as a professional archer, you've got to work out what contracts, what things are going on, and where you're going to go. And Hoyt and I have been together a long time before I came back, and we just decided to get together again and work some stuff. And it's really cool. It's kind of like going home in both ways. I came home back to my house, and I'm home back at Hoyt, where I can't tell you how many world records, how many world championships. Me and their bows have done some really cool things, so it's exciting. And then this year to start a whole different page of being in the seniors, or as you call sometimes, masters division, 50 plus.
Yeah, it's called a variety of things.
Yeah, I mean, not
I
sure.
wish the whole industry would come together and just say, this is what we're going to call it.
Yeah,
but
but
everybody's got their own thing.
I mean, there's things you would call worse, but they do really good, and it's fun. And the funny part is, I've been around archery long enough. A lot of them guys, I know them, and so it's been really kind of cool. And the first tournament to do it at was Lancaster, and it ended up second. And it's been interesting because my nerves are a little more than they've been. It's been a year and a half. Struggled a little bit yesterday because of that, but we're getting it. We'll get there, and it'll be good. And it's just exciting going forward to see what we can do and be back in the good old red and doing the stuff.
Now, the thing I am curious about, I'm really curious about actually, is the fact that when you knew you were signing this Hoyt contract, you took one of your old Hoyts off the wall, started shooting it, and now you're shooting the latest iteration, which is the Stratos?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stratos 40 is what
40.
I got.
I'm just curious, with how long had it been since you shot a Hoyt? Hold on, let me guess. Since 2017? 16. 17.
I'm not sure, because I spent 3 years
At Elite.
and then 3 years at Matthews, and then so probably about 7 years ago.
Okay, 7 years ago. Advances, like, have you noticed, does it still feel like a Hoyt? Or, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, because the cam system's very similar. The SVX is what I'm shooting, which was very similar to what I had then. The only difference was back then we didn't have the nice module system to give you a little bit of draw length range.
Oh, yeah.
It was strictly cam draw length specific. And so, but the draw force curves are very similar. They did a lot of things very similar to it. The nice part about the Stratus is a little wider, so a little more stable platform. But it's a good bow. You felt a little bit of differences, but not. I mean, there was a little bit of being home kind of feel to it.
Yeah. Let's talk about some Jimmy Lutz a little bit. And by the way, that discount code, if you're looking for that discount code, is Triple Shot. There's our boy Jimmy, and Jimmy's having triple spot. One word, triple spot, all lowercase. Jimmy Lutz. Let's talk about him. What I find fascinating is that Jimmy kind of stormed on the scene here, maybe 4 years ago, and a lot of what people talk about are punchers. Jimmy admits he's a puncher. He's got a button release. If you ever see Jimmy shoot, his thumb is pretty much in a different county, and then he brings it, and when it's in the middle, he just whacks the thing wide open. So I'm curious, from your perspective, how good of a job that Jimmy has done, considering that the prediction in archery always seems to be, oh, you can only punch for 2 years and then you're going to go bye-bye. Because there's been a few guys. I mean, Kyle Douglas is one of them. Jimmy's another one. What do you think about him and his transitions and how he's shooting lately?
Jimmy's a good shot. And I think one of the big parts of something like that is you do hear that. They're going to come and go. Because in the history of archery, I've seen the guys that punch, they come and go. Their careers are a lot shorter. Because I think a lot of it, and I'll be honest with you, it's kind of interesting now the guys are able to admit and say, that's how I do it. I'm just going to do it that way. In fact, Jimmy, one day we were laughing. He's like, I think I might tattoo BAM across my thumb. Just so, like, the old, like, cartoon thing with the explosion. And so I think that helps them stick around a little longer because they're admitting to it and they're not trying to hide it and they're not hiding behind it. They're just like, this is how I do it. I'm going to do it this way, and live or, crash or burn or whatever. This is how I'm going to roll. And Jimmy's a great shot. I mean, he's a world champion. He's done all that. And so we'll see how long they last. I mean, there's some good shooters out there for sure that can do it and have done it. But I think one of the disadvantages is as you get older, you don't aim as well.
Yeah.
So to be a puncher for a long period of time, I just will be curious how long it lasts and what it does.
Yeah. Because, if he gets into his late 40s, it's rough. All right, couple things on YouTube. Seagoing Chunk 19. They need to call the over 50 group legends.
Legends.
I like that.
There you go.
Although there's probably like 6 legends in the class, right? And then Roland Deason is the name of the bandana guy. Thanks, Bo Nation, for that one. Roland Deason. All right, so first end of practice on deck. 3 arrows, 20 yards, 40-centimeter target face. Rio, how important is it to hit your first 6 arrows, 3 arrows per end in practice, or some people will shoot a little bit more?
Honestly, to me, it doesn't matter much.
Okay.
Because when I practice, I do twins of practice every time, and I've kind of learned that if you hit them or you don't hit them, it doesn't matter. In fact, 1 year here, I shot a big 9, almost to the red in practice, trying something silly before I shot, and ended up shooting a 328Xs that day. And if you've ever been here to Vegas, you usually hang the targets up. And I hung that target up, and he was like, yeah, really, that's a 300? And it's like, but it was in practice, and I knew what I did, so it didn't beat me up. So.
Well, that was back in the day, too, where you would actually shoot 30 arrows per paper target. Now, with the way the rules are, and because there's so much money online, and I think it's really benefited the archers and the vendors we have here, you have to change your target face every 15 arrows. Like, then you're going to switch at the halfway point, top to bottom. You have the option here to change target face every end if you wanted to.
100%.
Yeah.
And I have had tournaments where I do that a lot because you just feel like you don't get a good hole or you get something struggling, and it's like, man, I just can't get what I want. So let's just keep putting a new one up and keep rolling with it.
So if you're familiar with those target assignments from yesterday, they're going to remain the same. This is the line where, of course, we were looking at Bodie Turner, who had shot 30 X's yesterday, and he came in and had a little chit-chat with us. Chris Schaff, last year's Vegas champion, dropped 1 point last year, so he's trying to shoot clean today, clean tomorrow, and give him an opportunity to shoot Lucky Dog. It's a good look at the field. So the yellow line that's closest to the archers right there, that's going to be your shooting line. So that line needs to be straddled by the archers. And then there's the 3-meter line.
Yeah.
And that is if you pluck your string and anyway, if you have an arrow that falls from where you are and crosses the 3-meter line, then that's a miss. All right. And
they call it a shot arrow.
Caught a shot arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so that would be a 0. And then, of course, that other line that you saw there a moment ago close to the targets, we'll talk about that. But a good overhead shot and a good idea. You can see in between each archer, there's just little black marks that are on that tape. So that's what we call your shooting box. All right. Yeah. So there are people that will do different things. You can kind of see, if you look to the left part of your screen, go 4 archers in. You'll see that the archer there in those khaki pants and the blue shirt, see how he's kind of closer to the front of his shooting box. That might be just the way his body position is, might be where the target's hanging on the bail, might be the bail position. It just kind of, you got to kind of figure all that stuff out for yourself.
And it might be the guy behind you's a little closer. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty interesting to watch people how they kind of manipulate where they stand and where they go. So.
All right, so you're looking at a bail, a target bail. See where it says Morel targets, 154, 155, 156. That's just a bail. That's what we call it. And then you're going to have the top 2 targets are going to be A and B. It'll be left will be A, right will be B, and then you have C, D down at the bottom. And bottom line always shoots first in this tournament. So just so you're aware. But at the halfway point, if you're at the top, at the halfway point, you're going to require you to change your target face, and the top target moves to the bottom moves to the top. And Rio, for a lot of shooters, including myself apparently today, that can get a little tricky.
Sometimes the swap over is tough. Guys don't realize how much and it's only maybe a couple of feet different, like high to low. The way you aim and the way your bow reacts can be totally different. And some people really fret with that and can't figure out what they want to do. And some, it's just not a big deal. Because I know it's hard in practice to want to move your target at halfway and do those things. So it's one thing that a lot of people don't get a lot of experience with.
It is easy for me at 6'2" just to leave the target high.
Yeah.
And then obviously, after shooting today, it was apparent to me, just blazingly obvious, that I need to start practicing down low.
Yeah.
And my problem is, like, where I shoot indoor, I have to shoot over a table, and I don't feel comfortable, even though I know it's archery, right? The arrow arches.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the thing. Even though I know, like, I could clear the table, I just find it kind of weird. But I just have to commit to doing it because I shot much better today than I did yesterday, the first half, and then I switched from top to bottom, and then. Well,
and maybe
I came unglued.
Maybe if you did it, maybe that table there would get you a little extra nerves, and you could learn to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? It might be something to give you a little pressure, a little whatever.
Question from Pat: how much do holes in the bail, like behind the target, affect the penetration of the arrows? That's a good question. I think it kind of depends bail to bail.
Yeah.
It depends on what material's inside the bail.
And what it's some of the bails are built of self-healing material. Some are more of a stuff, so when you keep hitting the same spot, it gets harder and harder. I think you're 100% on that. It just depends on what the bail's constructed of.
I know yesterday, if you watched our 10K a day shoot, we actually had a pass through. We had an arrow pass right through the bail and had to be reshot, and that was for the $10,000. And that the shooter who shot that, unfortunately, missed it. Didn't get the inside out, even with the skinny arrow. But those things do happen, and different organizations deal with that in a different way. All right, so that was the
first end of practice. I think. I'm pretty sure.
We'll know because.
Archers, this is your final practice end.
Yeah,
Yep.
Final practice end. So that was the conclusion of the first end of practice.
Yahtzee, I got it.
Yahtzee. All right. What are you looking for here? You shot here yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. So you kind of think your sight setting should be pretty good, but what are you looking for here, or is it just kind of calm the nerves down?
It's just to kind of see how things are feeling. Because what's funny is we shoot these two ends of practice, and as soon as they blow the whistle for score, everything changes. Like the nerves go to rev limiter high, and you do all these things. And so this is just kind of like get your muscles warmed up, make sure your sight's close, and get your stuff. Just execute some good shots, so that when I get under that pressure in the next end, it'll be okay.
Let us know in the comment section if you're, shoot this round called the Vegas round, if you practice high and low as well, or if you ever struggle with, shooting low targets better than high targets or high targets better than low targets. Let us know in those comments.
Yeah, because I know guys that struggle on the top, some that struggle on the bottom. And I think a lot of that, like you talked about, is what you practice at. It makes a huge difference.
So, of course, this is our first year of extended coverage here at the Vegas Shoot 2024 edition. And later on tonight, we're going to have the World Archery Indoor Finals. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
And as we look at this last end of practice, before we get into our first end of scoring, the high pressure day number 2 to see who's going to be clean and then how many, 899s we're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'll be curious because there was a lot of 300 shot yesterday, more than I ever remember in a first day. So it'll be curious to see if it stays on that pace or if people start to feel the Vegas nerves.
So we talk about World Archery. It's coming up tonight.
Yeah.
Now, World Archery's max diameter for their arrows are different, actually, than the max diameter arrows that you're allowed to shoot in the Vegas Shoot.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that, Rio Wild.
Yeah, they go to a 9mm. It's a little different. Easton calls them 23s, or a lot of companies will call the big arrows that you shoot here a 27 diameter. It does make a little bit of difference, but I will say that I have I had a setup with my 23s that shot just as good as my 27s. It was just a confidence thing to have the bigger arrow and know that I wasn't giving something up to somebody. And so it's something that World Archery did a long time ago because the rule originally was to stop the big arrows was too damaging to in the terms was buttress or target, because the big arrows do tear up some stuff. And so they've done that. Plus, it also changes their game's a little different. They shoot at the inner X, which is about the size of like a penny, So it changes that too. So it's a lot, and they have a big 9 ring. So it makes for an interesting game. Like I won the World Indoor Championships 3 times, so it's something that I've loved, and it's a round that's really cool. And it's instead of like here where you can't miss, there will be availability to miss at times, as long as your competitor gives you that open door. Otherwise, you could be in a world of hurt if someone comes in and just shoots perfect against you.
Yeah, that was like the last round of the World Archery Indoor Cup stuff.
Well,
Matthias Fullerton, right? He didn't even miss one, and he still lost on the closest to the center. Didn't Schlusser?
He cleaned all the elimination matches, all of them.
150s after 150 after 150. So that's what we're going to see tonight here in the Preferred Arena. You have a certain number of archers that are qualified to even go to elimination matches that'll happen off camera in another room, and then we're going to get those medal matches for you coming up, and that'll be men's and women's recurve and men's and women's compound. And Rio, what's very interesting to me is that in years past, this is an Olympic year for recurve.
Yeah.
Now we're looking at obviously compound, but let's not discount recurve out of this equation, because this is definitely a very heavy recurve year. It always is with the Olympics. But one of the things I did notice is that on the men's side on the recurve, that there's a lot of them that are shooting a larger diameter arrow, where normally in years past I've seen it where even like Brady Ellison would come to a shoot like this and he's like, it's Olympic year, I'm just going to shoot skinnies.
Well,
but fatter arrows seem to be kind of like catching on in recurve.
Yeah, and I think because it's actually becoming more and more big in the recurve community, as like Vegas is. I mean, Brady shot a 900 a couple years ago. It's becoming a thing. I mean, like they used to not even come here. Yeah. And with the World Indoor Cup on Saturday night, it's changed a lot of that. I mean, we've actually had, what do we got, 50-some countries here now?
Yeah, 55-ish.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge change, and I think that the guys still want to be competitive, so they're looking for every advantage they can, because there's a prize pot there too. Like, and I don't lie to anybody. So a lot of these guys, this is to make their living, and so they're going to give every advantage they can, and they already have their setups a lot for outdoors. You know, I mean, because a lot of the rules are you have to have the bows have to be out prior to the games for a length of time. So they have a lot of that pre-set up and done. Okay. So to come in here, they have more than one bow.
Yeah.
So they put it together, they shoot it indoors, they do that, and it's just kind of a thing that they've kind of started to do. It wasn't, and it hasn't been that long ago that they just would shoot indoors, even non-Olympic years, with little X10s.
There's a couple things going on right now. You'll see archers down there changing their target face. Maybe they didn't really have a great practice, and their sight. I mean, when you have young eyes, you can see holes in the target from 20 yards away. Some other archers will actually repair their holes, which is legal here at the Vegas Shoot NFA rules. You can actually kind of pull the target up and just kind of push that paper back through if you had one in the 9 ring. But I know for me, I think if you had a good practice round and all of them were in the X ring, just leave it there. You're creating a nice hole in this Morel target, plus you're giving yourself a good visual cue. And number 1 of 10, 3 arrows per 30 arrows, and we're getting things rolling. So bottom line first, CD line is up.
And the interesting part here is people will miss more in the first and the last stands. I don't know. Well, I do know why, because it's like the nerves just hit you really bad and you're getting all antsy, and you know, if you can get through that first and the first couple and the last couple ends, you usually do well. And so I think that's a big part.
Yesterday we were focusing on Bodie Turner. Today we're going to be focusing on Jimmy Lutz.
And Lutzy's got lots of stuff on his mind. He's got a baby that's due in the next little bit here.
So we heard yesterday from Paige, I think it was Paige that told us,
that
Danelle, his wife, who's obviously one of the top shooters as well in the States, she told him, if you're shooting a perfect score and I go into labor, I'm not telling you. If you miss one, and she goes into labor, she's like, I'm going to call you and you better get on a plane and come home.
Yeah.
That is an archery. That's an archery competitor at its finest, right? I mean, and tip of the cap to Danelle for sure.
And think about that. I mean, that's a lot of money between Matthews and all that. I could buy some nice kids stuff. You definitely could take care of the family for a little while.
What do you think they'll call the baby if he wins Vegas?
That'd be a good one. You could come up with lots of names.
Middle name though.
I don't know.
Middle name the kid Vegas.
Yeah.
Lutz.
Yeah, or dice.
Bruce, Vegas, Lutz, dice. Andrew Dice Lutz.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're in South Korea, man, any big culture shocks for you?
No, not really. I mean, like, there are some different things that go on there. They're a little, I mean, it's kind of one of them things, the age thing was a little different to me. Like, you just have respect for age. And here in the U.S., it's always earned respect. So it's a little different there that you're just giving it because of your age. So that was a little bit of a culture shock. I mean, I always respect a lot of people to start with, but it was just a different little bit than what we get here in the States.
Right in the middle of your screen, I would say in a red shirt, but with the cross around his neck, right there going to full draw. That's Plonsky. He won the 10K a day shoot with those big fat 27s. And this guy, when he's on, it is scary. For Plonsky is such a good shooter. There's a question: does the entire arrow have to pass the drop line, or just break the plane like the NFL end zone? That's actually a good way to put that question.
That is a good one, because I've never thought about that. I think it has to have the entire arrow go past. And I would.
Yep.
Yep.
You were talking about the 3-meter line.
Yes. The
Right.
entire
So
arrow has to
I
pass
believe
it.
the knock has to pass. Yeah, the whole entire arrow has to pass, not like just the tip.
Yeah,
because
because you could have the arrow hit the ground and flip. So if the rule was like if just the knock passed, it could do that. So like I said, I believe the rule is, and I've been told yes, that the entire arrow has to pass the 3-meter line.
Yeah. So thanks for that question. We have binoculars, people, so we can actually scan around and look as well.
Do some spotting.
A little bit. I mean, it's so hard because so many of these people we know, and you hate to point out when they fail. Jimmy's down there to our left, right?
Yeah, and his all look good.
Yeah, he don't get any problem.
They all look really easy, really nice. And that's one part with the way he shoots. They can be really quick and easy, for sure.
Yeah, Jimmy's the type of shooter. He just gets on, and if the pin just settles for the moment he needs it to, right in the middle,
Yeah.
pow. And he has messed around with like 8 power lenses, 6 power lenses, gone back to a 7, gone back to a 6, and of course he does stuff for different stuff. I mean, educate us a little bit on lens powers, Rio, because you know they're visually going to do things differently for you, but there's advantages and disadvantages to both of them.
100%. You can get it to where you can see anything on the paper and be like, wow, that's really good. But in turn, bringing that magnification to you, the more you move, the more you see. So I've had people say, man, I can make it so big that I can see the entire 10 ring, and my aiming aperture or my pin or my dot is in there so easy. But man, when I see it move that much, it scares me to death, and I can't make a really good shot. So I think that's one of the parts that's really interesting, is it's like, well, the plus is I can see everything. The negative is I can also see all my movement.
Yeah.
So is it, where are we at with this? So, you know, and every person will find their own balance where they like and where they're good. But to me, I guess I could say I'm not man enough to handle those high powers. I've always only shot 4.
4 power.
Yep.
So I generally shot 4 power until last summer, and then I tried a 6 outdoor at 50 meter. But there's more to it than, it's interesting. There's so much more to it than just that. Your draw length is going to make a difference, meaning the length of your peep to the actual lens itself. And that's going to be draw length, but secondly, that's also going to be the length of the rail you use. So like on the TrueBall Excel sites that I use, I actually have a 9-inch rail, and some, like I know you use a 6-inch rail. So you have adjustability there, and so the distance away makes a difference.
Yep, for sure. It's all, the more power, the more, like, everything can cause all the differences. Is there any good ones down there?
I don't know. I mean, so there's Fullerton in the PSE jersey coming back. Absolute hammer. Stormed onto the scene just a couple years ago. Hard-working kid.
Shoots awesome.
Nearly destroyed our Airbnb. We came to shoot nationals, USA Archery Nationals last year in September. And I had an Airbnb that actually had a golf simulator in the kitchen, which was nice. You know, it's got a little bit of a pad, and then you have the thing. and we put a golf club in that dude's hand. So Jimmy came over, Jimmy Lutz, who you're looking at right now, who is an absolute big golf fan. You want to talk about torturing yourself? Why don't you golf and play the game of archery, because it's the same woes. But so Jimmy's like, oh, I heard you have golf in your kitchen at the Airbnb. Can I come over? Yeah. So he brought Fullerton over, and I don't think Matias had really swung a club before. So after he took his second divot out of the kitchen floor, I was like, I mean, he hit that ground so hard. He didn't actually do any damage, but we were like, all right, let's go ahead and take the clubs out of your hands. And here you go.
It's funny to watch because some athletes are really, really coordinated and some are really, really not. Like,
it's true.
In different sports, because Mikey, we love taking him to Top Golf. Chris has got videos of it. Oh yeah, it's super entertaining and awesome. And so, but like, I know we were somewhere one time and Dave Cousins could not dribble a basketball.
Really?
Yeah, and I mean, for as good as that dude can shoot, that was one thing he did struggle with. But it's like I said, and that's what's cool about archery, dude. There's so many different people and different things. Jimmy, I can tell you one thing. Jimmy can play some video games.
Dude,
during COVID year, we hauled the Nintendo Switch with us and played Mario Kart in my room, and he decided to just destroy the entire U.S. team, and he was pretty good at it. So he's pretty multifaceted.
I'm going to one-up you on that one.
All right. So
at this Airbnb we had at Nationals in Malvern, Pennsylvania, the owner of the Airbnb had a brand new Xbox Series X. They had like 1,000 megabit per second download speeds, and he had 2 guitars, the drum kit, and the microphone for Guitar Hero. Jimmy Lutz, that guy right there, jumped on the drum set and put it on expert level and missed like one note. Wow. He was like, and we all just sat there going, what just happened?
Yeah.
What were you doing as a child? You are the absolute best drummer I've ever seen in Guitar Hero. Oh, Jimmy, a little high one there left in terms of the X count.
But that's really irrelevant here.
It is, yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'll trade every X I shot yesterday for a 300. That's the game you play.
I'll trade
here.
every 8 I shot for a 300.
But bump. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. There's. But yeah, there's this is, like I said, this is the fun part. It gets down to the nuts and bolts here, because guys can sometimes talk themselves through the first 2 days, and the third day will be the bad one. But there's a trick to getting through these 2 days.
Mm-hmm. AB line is up.
I did see on social media that Connor right there in the elite jersey right in the middle got engaged last night.
Congratulations, Connor.
Yeah.
Good place to do it.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I've heard of people getting married here, so getting engaged, I guess, is a thing. So
I've seen people get married in an archery range. I've seen people get married on racetracks. Just depends
what your feel is.
Yeah. There's Stefan Hansen, or Stefan. It was funny because I had Steve in the booth last week, and we were talking. He's like, look, I know it's actually pronounced Stefan, but we just call him Stefan, and he's okay with it. And he goes, so I'm not changing the way I say his name. And I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I just try to be. What?
No,
he's got that 4-finger thumb button.
And dude, he shot so good last week. It was spooky. I mean, he played his special game, and that made a fun round over there in Lancaster last week.
Sure did. Championship Compound Open. As we are trying to figure out who is going to stay clean after day number 2. We started with 73. We were down to 61 before this line started. Was that Chance Bobef right in the middle of your screen with the Darton shirt that didn't look too happy with his shot? Maybe that was Tate Morgan.
I was going to say Tate Morgan, I believe, yeah. He got them all.
KJ Polish. What a story this young man has to tell in archery. Top of the world. Before his accident. And just dude, to listen to the story of his accident is the craziest thing in the world. It's one of those things where it's almost like you go, you got to be kidding me, you got to be kidding me, you got to be kidding me. And it was just a freak deal for KJ. He, he was driving along country road, speed limit going like 30 miles an hour, and like turkeys flew off the side of the mountain
Yeah.
like right in his vision, and he swerved, and he goes off the side of the road, and the car he had a soft top, and it spit him out, and he hit a tree, and he's just like, and that didn't actually do it, and that didn't do it, and then I hit this, and I rolled, and I did this, and it ended up being one little rock, and it hit him in the back, and then just like that, and then he also told me, and don't quote me on this, but it was I think 9 months after his accident, and he came right back to archery, back to archery. And he has said that, he had just signed a big contract with Matthews, and obviously he's hurt. He couldn't shoot at the level they signed him to, and Matthews just stayed with him, and continued to support him. And, he goes to Pan Am games. He's, really, he dropped just 1 point yesterday, but he's still doing really well. And it's been really, really interesting to know KJ and to see him at some shoots. I was there at Pan American Games in Chile in November, of last year, a few months ago, and he shined there, broke the world record, and yeah, he's a really great shooter.
Yeah, he's a great shooter, able-bodied or
para.
Like,
or para, 100%.
He can put down some scores for sure.
Yeah,
and has been doing it for a long time.
There's his mom right there, who is his agent. That's what we call it in archery. So, we do have some para athletes that are competing here because this is Open Championship. Compound Open denotes everything pretty much, for the most part, age-wise and bow configuration. You can shoot a recurve in here. It's totally fine. It doesn't matter where the category that you shoot in other disciplines of archery. It's all good. Okay.
Let's see what we got going on.
Yeah,
here.
we're trying to see. I'm going to yell at. Oh, Gap is gone for my NCO.
Get it back to arrow average.
Yeah, because what I'm seeing right now is. Oh, there we go. Now I have arrow average back up. So let's see. Nico Girard, still clean on the X count, as is Bodie Turner.
So how many total do we got down there?
Right now, I only have 33. So I'm still waiting for it to update one more time.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because this is the second end, yeah.
Yes.
Of
Second
scoring?
end, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So right now we have 57. So it was 61 when this round started. So just like that, in a couple ends, we've lost a few of our shooters that were sitting on perfect scores. And 15 in the earlier sessions were clean.
Yeah, there's some down there that's got the 300s that have now disappeared to the.
Yeah. Of course, that high X count we talked about is Braden Galantine and Christopher Perkins at 56 out of 60 possible X's. And the low X count is Sam Smith at 39 X's, who owns his own shop, Sam's Bows, in Georgia.
Yeah.
We talked about how tough that is, but Angus Moss at 42. So we can see from the arrow average that we have Bodie, Kyle, Douglas, Matthias Fullerton, Lutz is there. He's dropped 1X.
That one we saw high just a minute ago. But he looks good. I mean, he's nice and solid, no questions.
Schlusser off of his X that he dropped yesterday. Jacob Marlowe still clean. Bronski. Marco Bruno from Italy. Marco Bruno's still perfect. He's got 30 of 33 X's. Bruno was the one who stormed onto the scene last weekend at the Lancaster Archery Classic. And the way it shot, it was against Bodie, as I remember correctly.
One of the funnest matches I've ever seen.
Was it Bodie? Yeah, it was Bodie. Bodie shoots an 11. Bruno shoots an 11. Bodie shoots
Bruno
an 11.
Shot the first 11 because he shot 10, 11, and then the
12.
Yep. And
so that's the way he called a 12. So then
yep.
Bodie ends up shooting a 12. He shoots a 12. Da, da, da. So it ended up after 4 ends and 2 elimination arrows that Marco Bruno shot 6 12s. Bodie shot 5 12s, but closest arrow to the center, and Bodie moved on and advanced. And that sometimes is the heartbreak of archery, that you can be, that perfect and still lose it.
Yeah.
Jimmy Lutz.
Put him 3 down there.
Heading up to shake off some steam. This is a timing thing, by the way. You got to know when to head to grab some food or hit the restroom. Ooh, Abhishek Verma, still good. Just out high left on target 148. I'm looking at. It's a 10, not an X.
Enough to make you pucker a little bit and go, oh.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm looking at 143 is Kevin Polish's target. He's getting ready to shoot, but that's a clean looking target right now.
No.
Nico Girard. Everything's in the middle.
He's a good, solid shooter. When we did the World Indoor shoot that we did during COVID, the quarantine one, and that was where that first dot came from before Lancaster started using it. And man, he shot that thing every time and just smoked it. He was quite impressive that week.
So as we watch another end of scoring, Rio, you have been coming to the Vegas shoot since the dinosaurs, pretty much.
For a week or two, yes.
Next year, nobody knows yet. The announcement's going to be made tomorrow.
Yeah.
Next year, we do know this is moving from the South Point Hotel and Casino to the Strip.
Yeah.
Somewhere on the Strip.
Oh, on the Strip. Okay. Well, that's information that
on the Strip
we didn't know.
What do you think? Because I've been asked this question by a couple of shooters. I was asked this question on the line earlier today. Do you think it's going to help attendance or hurt attendance because it's on the Strip?
I think the biggest thing will be room prices. I truly do, because I think the rooms are fairly affordable at this hotel and the one adjacent to us. And I think that helps people afford to come. And I think, you know, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think if prices got too out of whack, we've seen that at different archery tournaments over the history. We did shoot a Indoor World Cup in Singapore for a few years, and the attendance was okay. They moved it to Bangkok, and the rooms were more affordable, and the attendance almost doubled overnight. Like, it made a difference. And you know, as we think about it, even a pro, we got to figure out our budgets. Can we make it? Can we not? And then the average person, they got to pay for all their rooms. So to me, that's going to be the biggest thing. Whatever negotiated rates they came up with, could be a huge part of what the effect on this tournament has.
Well, the other rumor too is that it's actually going to go a little bit later in the season. So a little bit later. And the one thing I do know about Vegas, coming here for all these years, right now we're in prime time in Vegas. And mostly because generally the weather's going to be better here than in other parts of the United States.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like the South and you know, during like spring break time for school and stuff. So, you know, if you wanted to have an indoor archery tournament here in July when it's 100 and something degrees out, the rooms are going to be cheap.
Yeah.
Right? And so, you know, hopefully, that situation has kind of worked itself out. Being on the Strip, I think it's going to be, I think it'll draw more people in because they can do more stuff.
Well, and you could be right there, but I also think it's going to be interesting changing the dates.
Yeah.
Because people start to get outside, and I remember when in the NFAs in those periods of times that it's one of those things that, like, it just is hard to see or do because it's like you just don't know if people are ready to go outside or not. So, but it can be a challenge for sure, because that's the one part I'm really wondering, because, you know, you got ASA starting. Are people going to really come back here for this with ASA going? And ASA is getting some pretty good prize money out there, so it's going to be one that they're going to be tough to compete with. So it could change the stuff, and where you're in that, is it going to be as prestigious and everything else as it is if people aren't dedicated to this being the one?
Yeah. We were looking at Bodie Turner and looking at Bodie's target. It's looking really good. That third target, looks like he pushed one out. Maybe probably got the call on that one, on the X on Bodie's target. He's on target 147. He's upper right. He's got no name tag today, and that happens. But looking pretty good for Bodie, as we are going to refresh our scoring screen. Once again, it's inco.net, and you'll go to that main page and you'll see the Vegas shoot on there, and you can click on the class that you want to look at. And we are, you know, looking at your arrow average. So the whole group is ranked. We're down to 53. And keep in mind, Archery Plus, that's where to go to catch archery coverage. definitely moving forward. It's going to be right there. And on Archery Plus, you're going to be able to get on there, get yourself an account. The QR code is going to take you to archery.tv. So if you just missed it, go to archery.tv. That's the QR code right there. Yeah, you're not going to be able to grab it from there, but thanks, Rio. That's good. I don't want you pulling something at your age, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
But yeah, Archery Plus is where it's at. And the Vegas shoot Sunday night is going to be behind that paywall. It's going to be $4.99. I understand a lot of people are a little bit going like, wait, what? But want to keep in mind that $4.99 is going to go back to the NFA Foundation to youth scholarships. And that's a great program. So, someone who's an NFA member, youth, get a scholarship, that money can help pay for books. It can help pay for food. It can help pay for room and board. It's not a $100,000 scholarship, but it's money that goes into a shooter's pocket who's going to school and helps to encourage to keep them into archery, because I think that's really a big deal I've seen with Archery Rio over the years, is the fact that you do get a skip. You get great like in school, high school type programs with NASP and S3DA, and then sometimes that archer can get lost in college and maybe even start a family. But I've talked to a lot of archers that always find their way back eventually. Yeah,
and the cool part is like any pit helps. College is so expensive here in the U.S., so all that little bit helps, and archery's been really cool getting into more and more of into archery. They've got more archery teams. I've seen more of that. I've seen more competitions for collegiate nationals, everything else like that. So it's become really, really cool. So
you saw a moment ago Lance Thornton, who we kind of talked about yesterday. He's on Bodie Turner's bail, who has that prosthetic right arm. And for Thornton, he's got a really good-looking target.
He was looking good over the practice range. I've known Lance for a long time. He comes out to Idaho and goes hunting with a few of my friends. And so, yeah, Lance is a good dude.
Good dude. Heck of a shooter, too.
Yeah.
So on this line, kind of in the middle, Bodie Turner getting after it. So we're down to 53 shooters.
So we lost a few more.
Lost a few more in terms of who are clean. And so I was mentioning INCO.net, IANSEO.net, and you can go to the Championship Compound Open. We're looking at the arrow average. That really helps us out quite a bit in terms of seeing who's doing what. We do have two shooters.
I didn't like that one.
No, we didn't.
Where is Roberto at? Let's see if we can find it.
What a guy.
It's still might even still be an X for as upset as he was. I think it's definitely inside, maybe barely touching, but was not. This is a part of archery that I love. Sometimes we feel like we have bad takeoffs, and the landings are not too bad.
And Roberto Hernandez from El Salvador, he's on one of the lower X counts. He's got 26 so far, but he's still in there. Did he get that one? Because he looks.
I can't see it behind his other arrow. It's on.
Oh yeah. What is he down on? Like 153-ish?
Yeah, 153. And I can't see it behind his number one arrow.
It looks into me. I just think that maybe he missed the next.
Oh,
and for one of the things, like Roberto Hernandez is such a good dude. He's really deeply involved in archery across the board. And he's one of the people that is able to get the
yeah, we're good. Look at that.
Yeah,
one.
he's fine. He's fine. The Pan American Youth and Masters Championships are going to El Salvador in May. Yeah. And he is part of that deal. So when it comes to the United States, the members of the youth team and the 50-plus team get to go. Now, you can't shoot it, okay, because number one, you were coaching in Korea. Number two, you're not in the USAT rankings.
Yeah.
But there's another person at this table who could shoot it. I'm not going to mention anybody, but.
Sorry for the rest of the team.
As a 50-plus athlete, though, with USA Archery, it's the only tournament that you actually get an invite to.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And I've shot in El Salvador. They have a really cool facility, and the range that we shot on is really cool because it's out like in kind of a jungly area. In fact, my brother, when we were there, we set a world record of qualifications for the 1,400 feet around, and it was me, him, and Dave Cousins. But he always said, man, behind them trees looks like the videos where King Kong comes out of. And he's like, it's really pretty and really cool. So, but I can tell you what, it can rain there. So maybe make sure you're prepared for them kind of fun adventures.
Somebody asked, actually, is there a prize for all X's? And the answer to that is kind of. There's not a prize in terms of money. There's not a prize in terms of there might be a medal.
Nah.
But I mean, it's more of a. I was the first person to shoot 90 X's at Vegas because it hasn't happened yet.
Kind of a feather in your cap, per se.
Yes.
But honestly, the X's have very little meaning on winning it because so many guys clean it.
Correct.
Their value is if you miss one, they break ties, and that's where the value comes in. So it's kind of like one of the ones you're driving around the track, and as long as you're okay, you're staying on the road, you're okay. And the more you're in the middle, you got more points, but it doesn't really matter until the end when you've got that all said and done.
Because the X is still the same value.
Yeah.
It's inside the 10 ring. What it is just another way to separate archers, so it's a tiebreaker.
Yep.
It's a tiebreaker when you have your rankings all set. And that's important because when let's say that we have 27 people. I'm just pulling a number out. I think you said 23. But if you have 27 people that are clean tomorrow in this category, how do you rank them in terms of where they are when they're walking out on stage?
Yeah.
And that ranking differentiator, so they all have 900 points, except for the lucky dog, 899. The separator is just going to be X's. So
well, and sometimes they don't even do that. They just bring you out by names. I've seen that too before.
Oh, yeah.
So in the finals, when the guy's clean, it really has zero value.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of them things. It's the only tournaments this way. But if you miss one, then them X's become a big value. So it's kind of it's a weird thing because that's what makes Vegas Vegas is it's different than anywhere else.
And by the way, if you're checking this line out as we continue to focus on Jimmy Lutz, this is not a line of 100% guys, by the way. Shout out to Dakota McKee, who's here from Ohio. She's actually shooting, I believe that Dakota is shooting on
147.
Yeah, she's on Bodie Turner's bail. So she's actually shooting just underneath Bodie. And Dakota right now is pounding.
Yeah, just like Jimmy. Jimmy looks really smooth and stuff.
What I don't see is a recurve bow in the mix this year.
Yeah.
We've seen them in years past, but I haven't seen one. Jimmy's final arrow of this end. Oh, please.
Oh, another day at the office.
That's what you call in the middle.
Yeah. The other guy in front of him is actually from my hometown, Dave Lamont.
There's Dakota McKee.
So
I just love seeing any shooter that's going to come shoot this category.
Yeah.
That's not a professional. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I'm not saying Dakota is not a professional. I don't really know Dakota McKee's entire story, but there are a lot of shooters in this class that want to come line up next to the pro.
And honestly, she might be the second woman out here.
Like ever?
Ever.
Oh, you're talking about Sarah Lopez?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's important for Dakota McKee to come compete with, in this championship class when she had obviously the option to go shoot championship female?
There's two parts to it that I always saw it, and Sarah and I talked about this before she did it the first time. I said it's a really cool thing to say that you're one of the first ones to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a cool aspect of your deal, and for companies it's a marketable thing. I mean, I remember when the gal from Sweden was the first woman to play in a male golf tournament.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's a big thing,
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, Sarah walked in the first year and shot a 328X the first day.
First day, yeah.
And I was like, wow,
Whoa.
that's like showing it doesn't matter. And she ended up missing one or two that weekend. But I mean, like, sometimes it's good. These girls, there's no more pressure in the world in archery than standing on this line.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. I mean, guys like Levi Morgan and I have talked about it. He's like, I can be at home for weeks, pounding and pounding the middle. And I step on this line and my knees get weak and they shake. And he's like, what in the world? He's like, I've won so many tournaments. What in the world is going on here? And so it's a thing that is just like, Vegas is unique to itself. The format, I think, leads to a little bit of that, and it just is. It's a true challenge, and maybe this is where she wants to get this challenge. Maybe it pushes her to a different level, so in the future she can push herself more. But that's kind of what I could see from that.
Good day yesterday for McKee. Shot a 298, just dropped 2 points, and so far today, Dakota McKee, who we're talking about, who's on Bodie Turner's bail on that 147, she looks to be clean so far. I know that she shot 9 arrows, and I'm looking down at her target, and they all look good for sure. I'm just saying, like, maybe 2 X's out of 3 without question. So it's good to see a variety of shooters here as we are. There's McKee. Now it says Beretta McKee. I'm not really sure. From Idaho.
Who's from Idaho?
I don't know. That I'm not sure. I mean, I know what I'm looking at on the score here. I'm looking at Dakota McKee from Ohio.
I thought she's on 147, and I don't know that that's. Is she in that class? Is she?
Youth. Oh yeah. I think you might have skipped it. Yeah. Anyway, so let's see. We're looking at halfway point. So that means 5 ends are done and dusted. And it is a requirement here in the championship category that you've got to change your target face. If you're clean, this is the good thing about this. If you have shot perfect so far, that's one target that you can take and you can hang it up at your sponsor's booth.
Yeah.
And if you do it again, that's another target you can hang up at another sponsor's booth. So if you do it 900, you get 6 targets you can hang up. Maybe you take home one for yourself. But we saw yesterday that right at the edge of the arena here, Hoyt has their certified 300. And when we looked yesterday, Rio, for Hoyt, they had like 1 row at the bottom of shooters.
Yeah.
And I'm looking over my shoulder now as you guys are looking at arrows being scored, both on tablet and paper. And then one of the archers is going to be calling those arrows. So that's the communication that you have to have with your bail.
The archer in the clear target shirt yesterday comes up to me and asks me, "Have you ever had freeze-dried cheesecake?"
What?
And I'm like, "Nope." So he gave me a bag full of freeze-dried cheesecake.
Come on.
For reals. And I walked around and was in the booths, and everybody tried it, and it's like, this is the craziest thing. It's a delicious, crunchy marshmallow.
Wow. I
Good
love
guy.
hearing that.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. Let's see. So we're going to take a look as these scores come in. One of the things that I've noticed that's yeah, there we go. See, right? So, yeah, look at that. Already 3 times a perfect target being hung right now as we speak. But I've seen that thing go all the way up to the top.
Oh, I have for sure.
Of course, Lico Ariola, who won this thing. How old is she when she won it? 14?
14, yeah. Won it back to back.
13 was her first time winning it.
Yeah.
Or you know what? Was she like 13? Oh, that was Bodie. Somebody had a birthday,
Their birthday
who
right
won
on it. Yep.
Yeah, I think it was Bodie. He was like 14 when he showed up and then won it at 15.
Yeah. The technicality, as you could say. What are we at now?
I'm refreshing the screen. Let's see what we have.
53.
Yeah, 42 arrows total shot. So still at 53. Louis Holmes and Aman Saini from India, they're off actually in another arena. So they're a couple arrows behind us, but they're still clean as well.
Yeah.
So if you watch the 10K day shoot, that's what we were waiting for yesterday. We had a lot of downtime. It's because they were finishing up shooting, and it's because there's so many people that have signed up for the Championship Compound Open category that they overflew.
Yeah.
PJ Deloche still clean. This guy's been around a while. He's an absolute stud behind the bubble for sure.
Yeah. Former #1 in the world ranked archer, yeah.
Yeah. There's some stalwarts too on the world archery scene that have been around for a long time, and in and out of archery. Martin Damsbo from Denmark is still clean. There's our boy Chris Schaff, the 2023 Vegas champion. And for Chris, the big heartbreak yesterday of dropping 1. And so far, Chris Schaff has got them all today. But see, the thing is with Schaff, I mean, the people that have missed one down. So if they can clean it and they go to the lucky dog, $8.99, it's a pile of people.
And the thing with that is, I know when I cleaned it and the lucky dog, you're always like hoping it isn't someone like Chris that wins the lucky dog. Because you know they've been there, they've done it, and you're like, I hope that the guy's the lucky dog is not that guy.
Jeff Rainey from 3D dropped a point today.
So, okay, I got a message here just a minute ago.
Yeah.
How many is your guess by the end of today do we have left?
Today.
Today.
Okay, so I said that tomorrow we'll have 27, which was aggressive. Bruce said 27. Steve said 25. Paige said 21. We are at 73 today. So I am going to go with 48.
Oh, and I will give you.
Yep.
I said 45, and
Okay.
my little brother said 48. That's who would be messaging me, Logan. He says, how many you
First
want?
of all, don't bring that name up in my
Oh,
presence. Okay. My white whale. Logan Wild.
Yeah.
First USA Archery tournament I ever shot, Logan sat me down. I was out. Second USA Archery tournament I ever shot, Logan sat me down. That was the end of that. He has been. I don't think I've never beat him. And then what did he do? He retired. Just when I was getting hot. Just when I had the hot hand.
Yeah.
Archery Plus. Watch Archery live. Watch it video on demand. Go scan that QR code. Get yourself an account. You're going to have all this coverage that we're providing for you until we get to the finals for the Las Vegas shoot. Okay? It's $4.99 tomorrow night. You're going to see it live. You're going to have it video on demand. And that money that you spend is going to go back to the NFA Foundation and to youth scholarships. So get signed up and make sure you watch this, because what is your guess? Give us your guess in the comments. What do you think? How many are going to make it? Jens Arts, 43. That's the mark. I like that. Jens.
Yeah.
All right, so 43 for Jens. What did you say? I said 48.
I said 48.
You said 48.
Yeah. Logan gave us 45.
There's Martin Damsbo.
Yeah. Good looking arrow.
Yeah. Archery shop owner.
You can always tell when it's a good one. You don't look.
Oh, you like
You're just like, I got it. I know where
Yeah.
it's at.
World Cups. I mean, Damsbo is just absolute legend.
And he's been second here before.
Oh, that's right.
The second time I won this, he was second behind me. So I know he can shoot it definitely.
Yeah, and his impact on Danish archery. I mean,
Oh, huge.
right? Hansen, Fullerton. I mean,
Yep.
all these people trace back to what he does for the sport of archery.
Yep. Huge. He's a huge influence there.
All right, so he's glassing, so he might be like, oh, okay, what happened there?
And I didn't look too mad, but
Yeah.
maybe just off the X a little. And like we say, X's don't mean nothing, so he could be just that way.
Nathan says freeze-dried cheesecake. I want to try some. Obviously, so do I. It's Beretta McKee, and she recently moved to the Boise area from Tri-Cities, Washington. Okay.
All
That's
right.
what we were looking at earlier. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate that. So this is the tricky part, obviously. When you're flipping, going from top to bottom to top, it can trip some people up.
In more ways than one, as shooting the wrong target can jump into it too, besides missing that all-evasive 10.
Let me ask you something as a guy who's obviously coached a lot of people over the years. When I first started shooting archery, I found myself having to actually adjust my sight a couple of clicks going from top to bottom. Is there something wrong with doing that when you're new to archery? You know what I mean?
No, not at all. I've had setups that from top to bottom don't really get affected, and I've had some that from top to bottom it really made a difference. So to me, it's all personal, and if you're practicing and training for it, you'll know. You're like, I have a little bit of change when I go top to bottom.
Yeah, that's literally how it went. I was practicing at home going top to bottom, and I was like, wow, I just need to add like 2 or 3 clicks moving from one to the other. And then I would get here and just grab those clicks, and everything seemed fine, you know?
Yep, and like I said, that's again experience. That's understanding what your equipment's doing, and that's what you're doing. So, man, Jimmy looks good. And like I said, the guy in front of him in the Matthew shirt is Dave Lamont he's from Pocatello, Idaho. He comes and shoots and does a lot of the stuff at the local Idaho archery shop, and he's a good dude.
And the thing that's impressive about the way Jimmy shoots too is the process is just, it's always the same, right?
Yeah.
It's draw above the target, it's settle into it. And the thing that's, I think the most impressive for me about Jimmy is that Jimmy hasn't gotten into drive-by shooting. As he comes from, high and he settles in, he actually gets it stopped. He's not drive-by. Can you explain what a drive-by is?
Well, a drive-by is like, there are some guys that can't get their bow to settle. And so as they come down, they just proceed to go right through the 10 ring and try and hit the trigger as they go by.
It's so bad.
And it is so
it's miserable.
That to me is probably why Jimmy and guys like Kyle Douglas have been able to be those kind of shooters, because they aim. They're not the drive-by punchers that we've known in the past. And maybe that is the key to why they're around so long, because Jimmy's a good aimer. I mean, he's a good shooter, period.
Yeah.
So to be on that, I really think that that's a big difference.
Jimmy's dad is here this weekend. He showed up, and Jimmy's appreciating the support.
Yeah.
It's important, Rio, to have for me. The one thing that I noticed about shooting the championship compound female line today with those shooters was it was very quiet. And I think that depending on certain lines, like you go to Barebow, they're chatty all the time.
Yeah.
You come here to this championship open category, and you're like, okay. Some people want to have conversations, some people don't. I think that's kind of an important thing to understand about who you're shooting around and having those chats with, right?
110%. One of the years that me and Chance cleaned Vegas, there was a guy on our target that me and Chance, if you've been around us, when we shoot together, we do talk a lot on the line, and we laugh, and we have a good time. And we'd walk back, and a buddy of mine was sitting back in the back, and he said, funny part is, his mom said, those two need to be quiet. And it's like, he's like, but you don't know them, so it's a thing. But it's everybody's got a different thought and opinion on it and how they do it.
Were you the first one to win here at South Point, 2011?
We were discussing that last night. I'm not sure if it was 2011 or because no, I won in 12. Well, no.
No, you won
9,
11,
11, and 13.
Yeah. Dude, that's what happens when you get over 50, bro.
I guess.
And that's what happens when you're on the line. You're aiming sometimes, and all of a sudden you just go, did I leave the iron on? 9. And you're like, my brain, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened to my brain?
Yeah. No, it was a 9, 11, and 13. Was 11 the first year we were here?
11 was the first year we were here. So you won Vegas 3 times.
Yeah, I won it at the Riviera.
Yeah.
And then I guess twice here.
Oh, there you go. So when do you think about leaving this place? You sentimental?
I mean, it's cool. It's one of the first arena deals that we've shot in, so it's a little different. We had this discussion with some other people that are like, I hope where we go has some sort of setup like this, because come Saturday night, it's a show. I mean, they fill these stands. You've got to be here early to get the right seats. And how many people can say that their sport fills an arena to watch them shoot?
Very true.
And so, to me, that's one of the concerns that people have had and they're worried about. But, like, to me, Bruce and the people at the NFA have done an amazing job of taking this event from where it was to where it is now. So to me, anybody ever ask, I always say I have good faith that they're going to keep producing and doing things for the sport of archery that no other organization has been incapable of doing yet.
Yep. And of course, when Rio says fill the arena, those seats that are behind the targets, nobody sits in those things, people.
No.
That's why there's the sponsor covers that are over those things.
Yeah.
That is not the optimal place to be.
No.
I mean, even with professional shooters, if you draw a little bit high and maybe something crazy happens, your release goes off by accident, your D-loop breaks, you're launching them into the seats.
Yeah, it's a mechanical product.
Yeah, not those seats. These are the seats behind.
Yeah.
So they have the same vantage point that we have.
Yep.
Which is watching, from behind and watching their favorite archers. And of course, you can go to inco.net and check it out. All right. Let's see. The top line is up. Bottom line. They were the top line. Now they're the bottom line. That means that our boy Bodie Turner is on the line shooting. And Bodie is the 4th shooter from the left. Now center screen.
Do you know what's a fun one is Mateus and Stefan are shooting right next to each other.
I know.
It's a huge advantage. Like, I mean, they speak the same language, from the same country. It can be one thing that, like, it can help you with dealing with your nerves and everything else. So that should be a nice advantage for those two.
Looks like Bodie Turner has one down there. Rio, look at 147 bottom right. Looks like, to me.
Oh, it's 3/4 shaft in. It's off the X.
Yeah,
but
so it's a
still
10. It's a 10, 100%, but I think that's going to miss the X ring for
Yeah.
Bodie. I understand if you're, in the audience right now and you're listening to us talk about X's, it's one of those things that when you shoot at this level, X count, it's World Archery's 10 ring, so X count makes a difference at this level in terms of the conversations you have. Meaning, I've shot a 300 here before. It was only 17 X's. And when I shot the 300, I was all proud of myself. And the first pro shooter I ran into, I was like, I think it was you. And I was like, you're like, how'd you shoot today? And I'm like, I shot a 300. And you're like, how many X's? I'm like, 17. You're like, dude, 27. Let's not even have a conversation. I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
I still hung the target up, though. Still in my office.
I still think so many people come up to me and say things that here and they're like, oh, how'd you shoot? And you're like,
Archers.
everybody wants a 300. And I have people tell me, I shot a 295. And I'm like, what's your average at home? Well, about 295. I'm like, dude, you stepped on the biggest stage and did that.
Yep.
A+. You got to look at yourself and be very happy. Ooh,
But
we got one down there in the wrong target.
no.
MacArthur. That was Alan that did it. Oh,
Jace, is it Jason?
Justin?
Justin Allen? Yeah, Justin Allen.
Yeah.
That's a heartbreaker. It's just one of those kind of moments where this is the thing about switching from top to bottom. It can get away from you.
No, I talked about it
Yeah.
a minute ago, and like I've even done it. I will tell you, I was in the Montana Open one year, and one of the guys I was shooting with had never shot a 300 in a tournament before, and he was freaking out. And I just sat there and talked him through it. Well, guess what I did? I talked to him, and I didn't pay attention, and I proceeded to shoot 3 arrows in the wrong target. And so he was like, man, I'm sorry, I feel bad. I'm like, no, dude, it was really cool because you finished out and shot your first 300 in a tournament.
Yeah.
So, and I says, I'll have plenty of tournaments. We're
Yeah.
fine.
Well, for those Steve Anderson fans, Big Cat, he's dropped one. So he's now out of the running for perfect score.
So did Roberto Hernandez.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're down to 50.
The numbers are getting closer. And I was wrong. Logan said 48. I said 45.
Okay.
So,
Logan. So I'm just going to put White Whale.
white well.
Greg's White Whale. 48. Rio's at 45.
Yeah. And you got 40,
Jens,
48.
I have 48.
All right.
Jens is at 43.
Okay.
Jimmy's
And
got
Jimmy
another
just
one.
looks solid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's
like a
not
machine.
easy. It's not easy, but it's like he's on cruise control, right?
yeah. And some people can get
There's
that way.
Roberto.
Yeah. When you're shooting really good, to be honest, I mean, just to give you an idea, I used to say to myself, I got to buy a ticket to the dance. And my 900 is the purchase price to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, to be all honest with you, some people look at it as that, so it's not a big deal. Some people, to get there, it's their whole deal.
So for Roberto Hernandez, at least sitting on a 299, so his arrow average goes to 9.979.
So he's missed another one this end.
Oh, he did. So he's
Yes.
missed 2. Okay.
Yeah. And that's the heartbreaker, because now you've gone from missing the one to now you're out of the lucky dog. And that
Yeah.
makes, I mean, the lucky dog's a hard one to win, let's be honest. I never have got to the lucky dog. I mean, I've shot in it, but I've never won it. So it's one that's not an easy one to get. But when you're taken out of that, it kind of just makes the weekend for a long couple of days.
To the targets they go. And of course, with this year's enhanced coverage, hopefully you're watching it on Competition Archery Media's YouTube channel or Archery Plus. Get yourself signed up for it. Get yourself a subscription for some great archery if you're an archery fanatic like I am. Love to watch that stuff, especially in the middle of motorcycle racing season, which is how I make my life, how I make my career in another life.
Yeah.
I love keeping an eye on archery, and I shoot whenever I can. But
I do, because I know so many of them. Like even when I used to do it, it was fun. Or now even to watch the guys compete, it's an awesome thing to watch. And these, honestly, if anybody knows, 99% of these guys out here are good people. I mean, from watching a guy hand a backup bow to anything they can do to help their competitor because they want to beat them at their best. Archery family is a huge, huge bunch of really good people.
I had some older, I think probably 3 years old, Easton aluminums, like 27 X27s or whatever. And I went a couple weeks ago to Owensboro, Kentucky, to shoot the tournament there, and it was 7 degrees. And on the walk from the hotel to the venue, which was just like across 2 big parking lots, I had veins falling off from it was so cold, okay?
Well, if you quit using that kid's Elmer's glue that they use in elementary, man, come on.
I shouldn't use that?
No.
I think it was just, so anyway.
I mean, a little bit on your tongue and whatever.
Yeah. So I came with 8 arrows. By the end of day 1, we shot a 5-spot target. And then I was down to 5 arrows. And by the end, the last 2 ends, we shot a 30-arrow Vegas face. I was down to 2 arrows. And this kid grabs an Easton out of his deal. He said, "What point weight do you have?" I said, 225. And he throws me an arrow. And his arrow was about a 1/4 inch longer than mine. And I was like, I had 2 ends to go, and I only had 2 arrows left. And 10 with that arrow. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, no hesitation, no question. You're talking about how good the archery community is. It was really nice, and it was the first time that, I had a need for something like that. And people, he stepped right up and was just like, "Here you go, man.
Yeah.
I got another one, to worry about it."
I'm telling you, it is something that people will never, until you step inside of it, you just don't know. And they are good people.
Yeah.
So
That was Sawyer Sullivan you saw on the right part of your screen. And it looks like there's probably a pass-through arrow or something that's getting really close to being buried in the target face. So the archer who's working it right now is readjusting where his target is going to go. Coleman. And you can see the judge there as well. There are instances where a judge will tell someone to change their target face.
yeah, I mean, if they're hard to call, and it's only right. Like, honestly, I look back, I had a shoot off one time, and we had a judge come and call, and the arrows had hit in certain places. When he hit, it pulled the arrow pulled the face a little bit of a different direction, made it a tough arrow call. We'd been changing the faces every 2 times in the shoot off, and we didn't that time, and you could totally see where the difference was made there.
Rio from Jens, I got 2 questions for Rio. I see that some people are using 3 fletches or 4 fletches on their indoor arrow. Does it even matter to go 1 vein extra for only 18 meters? That's the first question.
That I cannot be honest and say I know for sure, because I've never shot the 4 fletch, and I've had guys tell me that they feel more forgiveness from it. But I don't like the fletch arrows. And so to add that extra vein, my 3 have steered them plenty good for a lot of years. So I'm going to be flat out honest with you, buddy.
Yeah, you've been fletching arrows a lot of years. It's like, dude, I'm not doing another dozen with 1 extra.
I'm not putting an extra vein on here just for fun, because we'll call it good. So.
I know that it's just kind of hit or miss on what people feel, what people think. I know that the shooters that use drop-away rests tend to do it more so than someone who's going to use a blade rest, because you got to make sure that there's vein clearance, 100%. And also, do you put them on straight or offset, and why?
My 3 veins are offset a little bit. I like a little spin to it, because we also know, and I think sometimes archery misses out on this and not taking from other sports. We look at guns, and if they have rifling in the middle that make the bullet spin and it's more accurate, why can't we take that technology and do it with our arrows? And that's how I've always thought about it, and I've always done it, and I've had very good luck with it, And
yeah, I use a 3-degree helical on mine, and there is some school of thought of which way your arrow comes off your bowstring. And one of the ways to test it is that you're going to take a bare shaft, and you're going to put a mark of some sort, a Sharpie mark. With aluminum, it's easy. You just use a black Sharpie. If you're going to use carbon, use a silver Sharpie. And you're going to stand close to the target, and close to it, and you're going to shoot that arrow into it, and you're going to walk back a little bit and shoot it again, and walk back a little bit and shoot it again. And you should be able to see which direction the arrow rotates. So let's say, for instance, it's coming off your bow and it's moving to the left. The school of thought is that you want to use your helical, use a left helical to get it. If it's already spinning left, get it to spin more left. If it's spinning right, get it to spin more right. I've told many things. Yeah, it works. No, it doesn't. It doesn't really matter. Looks like we have another arrow as we're holding the line.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. That was Vicelli from Italy, who shot one in Ryan Jeffries' target down there on 135.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're having a great day behind the bow, and that little mental error, it can crush you. But the key is, Rio, if you have one bad arrow, you got to let it go, right?
Yeah, 100%. I used to have a guy tell me, he says, I do not know how, and it was before we did the Lucky Dog. He's like, how many times that you missed one and you shot 899? And I said, you know, I always prided myself, like, I don't want to give up. Why just throw it away? Like, you still can finish fairly high. You can have a decent, you know, result. And so, to me, I've always been one of them people. And I even said today to a young gal that was shooting, I said, I'm really proud of you because she's had her struggles, and she is a better archer, and she was just like doing all this stuff. And I said, I'm really proud of you because you haven't given up. You really are keeping with it. You're doing what you're doing, and you've just not mailed it in, kind of, as you could say. And so,
someone asked if Chris B was here. Of course, he's very popular on YouTube, and Chris B is here. But Chris actually shot earlier in the day. I hadn't talked to Chris why. My guess is probably some commitments during the day. But Chris B is still clean, 600 with 46 X's for the very popular Chris B. Let's see.
Jimmy rolling with another 30. Simple, simple. What's his X count today?
Who?
Jimmy's.
Jimmy Lutz?
Mr. Lutz.
Let's see. Jimmy's at 46 total.
So did you shoot 30 yesterday?
Yeah, so he's down 2 X's today because there's 48 arrows shot scored so far.
Not too bad.
And Jimmy's he's a quick shooter, and part of the reason is just the rhythm in his head and his shot process.
Yeah.
You know, he acquires a target, and then once it settles for like just a moment, Jimmy just punches that button and sends it. And the other thing too, you know, in looking at that and how that gets done is, and I key in on it a lot because I really struggle with it. It's just the strong bow arm.
No.
It's disconnecting that release hand from that bow arm, and just no matter what you do with your release hand, just holding that bow so steady, and that allows the arrow time to get off the rest. You know, and so you're not, if you move that bow arm as soon as you punch the trigger, or a lot of times target panic will show up for people where they move it just before. You know, they're gonna give it a little bit of movement. Yeah, anticipation.
Just a little bit like, whoa, it's going.
Yeah, and so that's also the thing that you notice with Kyle Douglas and you notice with Jimmy Lutz is, and you'll see it next time we show Jimmy, is just that really strong bow arm, and you'll see him go pow, and then his arm moves after the bow's long, or the arrow's long gone.
Yeah, way gone.
Yeah. So we'll get some
Where
more.
are we at? How many are we at here?
All right, so we are at 50. So last count after, and that includes Louis Holmes and Amon Sani, who are
in the other room.
Yeah, they are 9 arrows behind, so they're 3 ends behind us right now. So we have Lane Brandt and Isaac Bedford from Canada that are in. Still clean, each of those 2 archers, but with the low X count of 34.
But they still have a really good chance of passing Sam because he only had 36 total. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive to hang it together with only 36 X's. He's
no doubt
mentally tough. Let's put that term out there for him.
So as archers start to walk back, you have to imagine most of those scores are in. Now just refresh. Alan Burnetta.
What is Alan doing today?
He was just walking back. Let me see.
How's our boy Alan?
Alan has dropped. He was perfect yesterday.
Yeah.
In with a 51X, and it looks like he is at 508. So he's dropped 2.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, yep, he's dropped 2.
Dang it.
Dang it, Alan.
Dang it, dang it, dang it. Let's see who else we got in here.
Stephen Hansen's at 47X is still clean. Jacob Marlowe.
Again, I think it's such an advantage for them two to be right there together.
There's our guy.
Rolling the bandana. That's impressive. That is ingenious in a way, I would say.
Mm-hmm. I mean, why not?
Why not?
Why not? I mean, luggage. You know, just because you're telling me I got to put this on my luggage. Unfortunately for him, he's dropped 2 today.
Oh, dang it. Good old Mr. Reyes today. This is one, like, I think people don't realize. You come out and you have a struggle fest on the first day. You come out and shoot really good. I mean, you got examples like Brandon Reyes, who missed 4 yesterday. He's clean today. You got a guy like Danny McCarthy, who shot the wrong target, like we talked at a point, and with 2 whole arrows, and then come out and shot clean today. So it's this, like I said, this mental game of this whole thing is a challenge for everyone.
And if you're wondering about the World Archery Indoor Finals, it's going to be 8 o'clock local time. And we're at 1:17 in the afternoon, or 13:17 if you're from Europe. Sorry, I know I'm extremely American. Apologize. Try to make up for it. Bodie Turner, middle part of your screen.
We got one a little bit that might be out of the X on that top target, but it's close.
He's on 52 X's, so today, of the 54 arrows that have been scored, he's dropped 2 X's. And it's not, that's more of just one of those benchmarks that the archers love so much.
Well, it's confidence.
Yeah.
If you shoot a good high X count, you're like, man, I'm shooting solid. I feel confident. I feel everything else. It's like, it's just one of those things that helps you mentally deal with things.
By the way, after that last end, we're down to 47. So we lost 3 more in that last end.
Well, that passed your 48.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Logan. We're out. I'm just going to cross this off the list right here.
And I'm not feeling real comfortable about my 45 at this point, because we do have the dreaded last end.
Arrow. Last end, last arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely gets a little bit shaky.
Yeah, a little sketchy there. And I like Jimmy's shoes, matching the outfit. He's looking definitely dapper there.
Those are his shooting shoes.
Yeah.
So I guess he takes those off after he gets done shooting.
Well, I mean, the laces and the black and gold to go with his Matthews jersey.
Looks like he's shooting that new Matthews title.
Really well, yeah. And he's shot good this year. I mean, let's be honest. He's shot some good scores this year.
And Jimmy he's a good shooter, period. You know,
Yeah,
he goes to the
100%.
ASA, he shoots a record there in terms of points up.
Yeah.
He can do, obviously, World Cup, world champion, you know, indoor stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a really good field shooter as well.
Yeah. Jimmy's just a good all-around shooter, and those are hard to come by. Like, you can have guys that can do one or do another, and they struggle in but he's been able to shoot good in all avenues of archery.
Yeah. So this should be end number 9. Be 57 arrows total shot. Then we're going to have 1 end to go for this line to be done and dusted.
And there's one of the dreaded 9s.
Yeah.
That'll just make you.
Yeah, there it is, up high.
Oh, nothing. you feel it go out of your body when you do it. It's just like, oh my gosh, your weekend is now just changed.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got someone down there like Stefan, and look at his target, rock solid on the bottom there. Martin Demsbos looks good. Deloche looks good over there. Fullerton looks good. Lots of good-looking targets. Maybe my 45 has a chance.
No shot.
No shot.
Matthias Fullerton just work in the middle of that target. Now again, the benchmark before this before this line started was 56 X's. Perfect 600. That's Braden Gelantine and Christopher Perkins. If things keep going the way they're going,
Jimmy's at 52 with what? 3 ends left, or 2 ends left?
yeah. But
And we got one down there right now still. So
right. So you got 3 arrows left. So
yeah.
Fullerton looks like he's going to go to 56. Schlusser, who we really haven't spoken much about, he's at 53
Yeah.
out of 54. So he only dropped 1 X yesterday, so he's been clean today. Nico Girard has dropped 2 X's today.
Yeah.
Lutz is at 52 and Bodie's at 52. So for sure we know that no one's going to,
60 exit.
Yeah, nobody's going to 60 exit or even 90 exit looking forward, but
Yeah.
so with this final end, this is where all the pressure is at. So we're waiting for these scores to come in and register. So we're going to see.
And there's the other one, the dreaded judge call. Oh, you're just like, come on, come on. And you just, you don't know till the words come out of the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Looked like maybe a 10. Yeah.
This is where the nerves, and
Oh.
I've said this before, I've asked archers what's more difficult, the first arrow or the last arrow, and it's most of the years I've asked that, it's been split. This year, I would say probably 80% of the people I've spoken to are like last arrow 100%. But I think it just kind of goes like, well, once you get the first arrow out, your nerves are gone, and then you're thinking about that last arrow.
Yeah, I can see that. And actually, if you ask them, it's usually after they've shot. So that last arrow was the one that they remember the most.
Yeah, that is true.
Like, oh, yeah, hey.
All right, 57 in the books. Rio, we are down to 44, including Louis Holmes and Aman Saini, who are in the other room.
Woo, 44. Past me. I didn't even hit the 45.
All right, happy to see that. I know Yen's on the feed earlier. I haven't been looking at some comments lately, but was at 43.
Yeah.
Boy, I was off on that.
Oof. I don't know that I've ever seen it drop off so much. Because we had 70-something and we're down. That's almost half.
Mm-hmm. It's getting there. Yeah. 73, what, 36? So it would be half?
Mm-hmm.
36, 37?
Yeah.
Tate Morgan's got a close one. Looks like it could catch a 10 for Tate.
Yeah.
I'm looking down there with the binos. He's got a hole there, so that's one where the judge would look at it and say, okay, I'm going to have to draw a line around it and see, but I think it'll be in for Tate.
They tried to recreate it as to where it was to see if it's, in that realm, so. And when I shoot, I like to be on the top to start and the bottom to finish.
Yep.
Because then I'm done first.
Yeah, that's good. There's Bodie Turner's target.
Yeah, he looks like he's got that one close. I'm not sure.
Yeah, just on an X, but he's clean in terms of the score.
Yep.
So he moves on. There's Allen. I saw Dan Yaza in the mix. So this is the end where most phones are going to be pulled out.
Oh, yeah.
Text the loved ones. I did it.
I'm in.
I'm clean.
I'm good for tomorrow.
So with all these archers with 570 points already scored in this line, and 30 to go.
Yeah.
We're really going to get a good picture. And again, it's just kind of weird that Louis Holmes and Aman Saini from India are sitting in another room shooting. They're already at 45 total. So they're halfway through their second day of shooting, where we are wrapping up with this final line.
Yeah, let's see if Jimmy can just keep that pace of that nice, quick, easy shot.
Just above the target. You can see him settling his shoulder. Gets into that shot, acquires the target, blammo, gone. Middle.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
That's what pretty good looks like.
That's pretty good. Yeah, pretty solid.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Not
I mean, it's a 10. It's 10. No
Oh,
question.
yeah. I think it's still an X.
Oh, you do you?
Yeah. I think she's good.
All right, last arrow for Jimmy Lutz. Can he clean the day? No questions asked about that one.
Yep, game over for the day.
And Jimmy's not even going for his binos.
No.
He's chilling.
He's just waiting for his neighbors to finish their arrows so he don't bump him as he walks off.
Yep.
Little knuckles there from the buddy going, hey, good job.
Yeah, and that's the way you do it. You don't want to bother somebody when they're in the middle of a clean one, but definitely after the fact. And Jimmy's a good dude, man. He really appreciates it. Someone did ask, who are the 1%? Can you name the 1% that aren't good people?
I don't know.
I don't know either. We don't know those people.
Maybe that Greg White guy. I don't know.
That'll open up the can of worms. Yeesh.
Just kidding, buddy.
Yeesh.
Just kidding.
All right, so looks like the championship compound open group is done shooting. They're going to hold the line. They'll kind of the DOS stand, which is
can we go back to that target?
which one?
Lamont just shot. I don't know if he's happy or I'm not sure. He shot that last there with a weird look. I was like, oh. Yeah, right next to Jimmy. I don't know if he's got.
You got binos.
Figure
it out.
Yeah, good call. Good call.
Use those high-end Swarovskis or whatever the heck you're using.
It's a close one.
Oh, boy.
It comes down to the good old judgy judge.
All right, so the archers are going to hold the line right now, and now the director of shooting is going to make some announcements, talk about scoring, talk about the fact that you've got to make sure that your tablet, because we do score on electronic tablet and paper. Paper is actually the official score. So you got to make sure those two coincide with each other in terms of score and X count. And then the people that are scoring will sign it, and the archer themselves have to sign it, and then you hand it in. You don't have to hand it in as a group, which I like. One person go hand it in.
It makes a lot less clutter in the line. It's that can get to be a big thing.
Yeah. So they're going to look at it. They're going to double check everything, and then it eventually over our good folks at inco.net are going to just start hammering out, making sure everything's good to go, and then those scores will be posted. But we'll get your preliminary idea of what has happened.
Yeah.
By the way, tip of the cap to Braden Galantine before these scores come in. You know, after yesterday, he was ranked in the 13th position with his 300 in X count, and worked his way all the way up to top of the pile.
Well, and that's a consummate pro. I mean, I can't tell you how many times the first day I would have a lower X count, but be like, off to the practice range I go to fix it, or to put some thought in, or mentally think about what I got to do to get to where I want. So it's kind of one of those things. Oh, Travis Scott. Looks like you already had one, but that can always, every one you miss makes you just cringe.
Yeah. Fullerton's target looks pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Very nice.
Oof. And that, by the way, is 5 ends of shooting.
Mm-hmm. And not only does he have Stefan right there close to him, he has Martin right there by him too. So it's the bunch of them are right there close together. That's awesome.
Do you think you could pick a favorite to win the Vegas shoot? It's so hard because
I've done it once before, and it was the funniest thing. I have learned with the Vegas shoot, it's either someone who is just white hot shooting good, or it's someone that just doesn't have any idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I
That's real.
like
I can think of
seriously,
2 people right now off the top of my head who won Vegas who were clueless they won Vegas.
like, and it's not to be mean to them
No.
or by any means. It's just like they walk in and they're like, oh, I'm just shooting and I'm shooting really well. And oh, wait, I won.
Yeah.
Like it's not that they didn't really realize. It's just that their way they handle themselves.
Yeah, or the expectation wasn't there. It was just like, wait,
It's
what
just,
happened?
I won Vegas, you know, and it was funny because it was the year Alex Wiffler won. I walked by and watched him, and I turned to somebody and says, he's going to win Vegas. And they're like, what? And I says, I've watched him shoot. He's shooting really well, and I don't think he has the expectations to, but he just is down here just shooting very well and just ho-hum, and boom, there he was. He was the winner, and everybody's like, how did you know that? And I says,
But even him, though, if you go back and watch when Alex Wiffler won,
yeah.
somebody turned to him and said, you won Vegas. And he literally turns around and goes, I won? You
Yeah,
know, like it
like-
was like, wait, what just happened
Yeah,
here?
and so it's over the history, it's been that. I mean, you've got the guys that have won it a few times, and you got the guys that are good shooters, but every once in a while there's a weird one that just pops in there that you're like, well, I didn't catch that one coming, like the train or, you know.
And it's the luck of the draw. Could it be Jimmy Lutz? Could it be Stephen Hansen, who is
Yeah.
absolutely on fire? We haven't spoken much about Mike Schlusser.
Yeah.
Or could it be this guy right here, Jimmy Lutz? I mean, the problem is that you have your stalwart of shooters, if they even get to it tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Because we still have another 30 arrows to shoot. But then once they're in, it just seems like in Vegas, every year we get surprised.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, Chris Schaff won Vegas, but Chris Schaff was a bit of a surprise because he hadn't won Vegas before.
No.
We have had Sergio Pagny win
Yeah.
Vegas for $50,000 coming from the lucky dog.
Yeah.
The first lucky dog to ever win it. I mean, there's so many. The Alex
Yeah.
Wiffler thing was a bit of a surprise. He was going up against Levi Morgan.
Yeah.
You know, who hadn't never won Vegas, and
Yeah.
you know, he was in the best position I think at that point, and it was like, who would have picked it?
Yeah.
So
and
we-
like I said, it's the weirdest thing, and I think it's because of the title and what it is, and it just, people have those things that it's like, some people that are good shooters want it really bad, and sometimes that leads to not the best results.
Yeah, agreed.
So as the pick for this year,
Yes.
we have played the game before, and I think about after tomorrow afternoon we can sit down and talk, and I can say, this is my choice, and this would be my dark horse, and this is where I'm going to go.
All right, so we have the scores coming in
Yeah.
of all 60 arrows now, and we're down to 43 shooters with Louis Holmes and Aman Saini, who still have more arrows to shoot.
Yeah.
So in terms of actual clean scores at the moment,
Yeah.
we are at 41.
Oof.
Okay, so we're at 41
Yeah.
with those two left
To finish
to
out.
finish.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, listen, we're gonna roll out of here for a little while, folks, but you want to keep it locked to whatever you're watching. Go check out Archery Plus. Go to that QR code, go to archery.tv, get yourself an account, sign up. We're going to be back in a little while. There's another line to shoot because still later on in the day, we're going to have the 10K a day shoot off. What that is if you shot 300 today, it doesn't matter what you shot yesterday, but if you shot 300 today, you're going to be eligible to do that sudden death shoot off.
Yeah.
One arrow at a time. Inside out, it's gnarly, and it's all for $10,000, and you'll definitely want to check it out because we're going to bring you the coverage.
And a
right
really
here.
good show.
And a really, really good show. So join us in a couple hours when we come back for all that. Rio, thanks for being in here
Yeah,
the whole time,
anytime,
brother. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
anytime.
it. And we'll see you guys a little bit later on.
Yep.